You know, the world around us is just packed with creatures that have these abilities. I mean, they're so wild they feel like they're straight out of a comic book. We're talking about real-life superpowers, and a lot of them are hiding in plain sight.
So let's start with this thing, the bloodworm. And yeah, at first glance, this description, it's spot on. It's unsettling, kind of alien-like, and definitely not something you'd want to run into, ever.
But hold on. What if I told you this creepy, disgusting creature has a secret? Something that makes it one of the most unique animals on the entire planet. What if it had teeth made of metal? 'Cause, well, it does.
And that, right there, brings us to our first category. Creatures that are armed with some of nature's most unbelievable secret weapons.
I mean, the idea of this is it's what makes it so fascinating. This isn't just a hard tooth, you guys. The bloodworm's fangs are literally made of copper. It's the only animal we know of in the whole world that can biologically form metal, which it then uses to inject venom. It's absolutely incredible.
Okay, so not all secret weapons are for, getting up close and personal. Some animals have figured out how to strike from a distance, like a certain spider with a very, familiar-sounding superpower.
So say hello to the spitting spider. Instead of just building a web and waiting, this thing is an active hunter. It actually shoots a net of silk right from its fangs. And this is where nature's creativity just blows my mind. Because the silk isn't just sticky, it's also laced with venom, so it immobilizes its prey from way across the room. It is the closest thing we have to a real-life Spider-Man.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about our next group, the true masters of the ambush. These creatures don't just have a single weapon. They actually engineer the entire battlefield to give themselves the advantage.
The trapdoor spider. Now this is an animal that is just a patient, brilliant strategist. Check out its process. It digs a burrow, builds this perfectly hidden door, and then rigs the whole entrance with silk tripwires. The second an unsuspecting bug touches one of those wires, the spider just explodes out of its hiding spot. A perfect, inescapable trap.
Speaking of traps, what about one of the most famous traps in the entire world? The Venus flytrap. So, an experiment was set up to see just how good they really are by putting a cheap $10 plant up against a fancy $100 one.
And the results? Yeah, they were pretty decisive. The cheap trap had this weak nectar and its jaws were super slow, so the fly just got away no problem. But the expensive trap, totally different story. Its nectar was so potent it lured the fly in almost right away, and its jaws snapped shut like lightning. Boom! Successful capture in just 5 minutes.
So just how powerful is one of these high-end Venus flytraps? Well, powerful enough to take down a black widow. Seriously. Despite its crazy venom and its reputation, the spider just walked right into the trap and was caught instantly. It just goes to show you that nature's traps can be incredibly formidable, even against its most famous predators.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about offense. Let's flip to defense. What about the ultimate survival superpower? The ability to not just take a hit, but to completely bounce back from it.
Take a look at this little guy. This is a rescued axolotl, and when it was found, it was in pretty rough shape. A huge chunk of its tail was just gone. Now, for most animals, an injury like that would be permanent, but the axolotl is not most animals. See, axolotls are absolute masters of limb regeneration. And we're not just talking about healing a cut. This is the biological marvel of regrowing entire complex body parts. Bones, muscle, nerves, all of it, from almost nothing. It's a superpower that has had scientists fascinated for decades.
And so after getting some proper care, the axolotl superpower just kicked right in. Its tail grew back completely, leaving almost no sign that it was ever injured. It's just a stunning, beautiful display of nature's built-in power to heal.
All right, now let's talk about the architects and the engineers of the animal kingdom. These are the creatures that build structures with almost unbelievable properties. Listen to this. This quote is about the golden silk orb weaver. And I know, it sounds like something straight out of sci-fi, but it's totally true. The silk this spider makes is so amazing, this combination of strength and lightness, that it has actually been studied as a model for making advanced materials, like bulletproof vests.
Okay, so how strong are we really talking about here? Let's put it this way. If you could scale up a single strand of this spider silk to be as thick as a regular rope, it could theoretically hold 1,000 pounds. That is an insane level of strength coming from something so delicate. Okay, we've seen some incredible weapons, amazing traps, and unbelievable defenses.
But what happens when two of nature's most formidable forces actually go head-to-head? Let's set the stage for the ultimate showdown.
So, in one corner, we've got a swarm of 1,000 harvester ants. They've got powerful mandibles, venomous stingers, and of course the ultimate advantage, just overwhelming numbers and teamwork.
And in the other corner, just one. A single black widow spider. A lone predator? Sure. But one that's armed with some of the most potent venom on the planet. We're talking 15 times stronger than a rattlesnake's.
So who's your money on? The power of one deadly predator with an infamous weapon, or the collective might of a massive, coordinated swarm? Well, the result was immediate, and it was brutal. The ants just went on red alert and swarmed the spider instantly. Before the Black Widow could even try to fight back or use its venom, it was completely overwhelmed. The sheer force of the colony, with hundreds of ants all biting and stinging at once, was just too much. In this fight, the power of the swarm was absolute. Man, it just goes to show you the natural world is just full of these hidden marvels. From worms with copper fangs and spiders that shoot venomous webs, to axolotls that can regrow their own limbs and ants that can take down legendary predators. These superpowers are literally everywhere if you just know where to look.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, right? We've only just scratched the surface here. What other incredible abilities, what other hidden superpowers are out there just waiting to be discovered? Maybe even right outside our own front doors.